Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you from YAHUAH, that is our Father, and Yahushua. He is the Messiah, the one that carries the burden of Yah, his voice, our high priest, soon coming King. Hear, O Yasharal, YAHUAH, who is our mighty one. He is one. There is no other mighty one, brothers and sisters, than YAHUAH. And Yahushua is his voice. This is Brother Dawood coming to you again to bring you the fear of YAHUAH. It is written that it's the beginning of wisdom. How do you know if a man fears YAHUAH? Well, we know how to identify whether a woman fears YAHUAH by the way she relates, speaks, and treats her husband. So what about the man? We're going to learn that today. Brother Dawood, what is this picture that you're showing us here? This is in Florida. This is what we call a sinkhole. The earth opened up and swallowed up half of two of these houses. And you can see the roof there in the sinkhole. See the car? Yeah. Let's begin. Bamudbar. That's right. Numbers? Chapter 16, 1 to 3. 1. Now Korah, the son of Itzhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and An, the son of Peleth, these are the sons of Reuben. They took men. To do what? 2. They rose up before Mashah with certain of the children of Yasharal, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, well known, men of renown. Their resumes are known. 3. And they gathered themselves together against Mashah and Harun, and said unto them, You take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation is holy, meaning set apart, every one of us, and YAHUAH is among us. What are they saying? We've all been set apart. YAHUAH is with us the same way he's with you. Wherefore, why do you lift yourself above the congregation of YAHUAH? Do you see the question? 4. Look at the action. When Mashah heard it, he fell on his face. Why do you think he fell on his face? He knew what was happening here. He knows what comes next. 5. And he spake unto Korah and unto all his company, all the people that were with him, saying, Indeed, tomorrow YAHUAH will show you who are his and who is set apart, and will cause him to come near unto him. Indeed, him whom he have chosen will he cause to come near unto him. 6. This is what I want you to do. Since you believe that YAHUAH has chosen you also, take you censers, bowls, Korah, and all your company. 7. And put fire therein, and put incense in them, before YAHUAH tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom YAHUAH did choose, he shall be set apart. You take too much upon you, you sons of Levi. YAHUAH. Look what Masha did. He threw their words right back in their face. 8. And Masha said unto Korah, Hear this, you sons of Levi, you sons of YAHUAH. 9. Does it seem to you a small matter that the Alayam of Yasharal have separated you from the congregation of Yasharal? Hold it. Do you think that the task that was given to you by the angels, the watchers, the messengers, for you to serve in the temple under the priest is a small matter for you? To bring you near to himself to do the service of the tabernacle of YAHUAH? To follow this chain of command that I have set up so that everything can flow properly with decency and with order, and to stand before the congregation to minister unto them? That's your task. To serve the priests, to serve the people. 10. And he have brought you near to him, and all your brethren, the sons of YAHUAH, with you. And now you seek the priesthood also? Are you guys familiar with the law? The high priest, the one that comes into the Holy of Holies to present incense, a sweet-smelling savor before YAHUAH, and to minister on the people's behalf, can only come from the sons of Aharon, the one that you know as Aaron. 11. For which cause both you and all the people with you, why are you gathered together against YAHUAH? Uh-oh. They believed that everything that Masha and Harun was doing, they took it upon themselves. You mean they didn't realize that Yah had chose them out from amongst the people for this service? Did they not see all of the great things that were done through the hands of Masha? And what is it about Aharon that you murmur against him? 12. And Masha sent to call Datan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the sons of Reuben, which said, "We will not come up." Masha is the leader. He called for Datan, Abiram, to appear before him to speak about this matter. They said, "We're not coming over there. You don't tell us what to do. You're the one who lifted yourself up above us." 13. Is it a small thing that you have brought us out of the land that flows with milk and honey? They're talking about Egypt, by the way. They came out of Egypt, where they had fried chicken, cornbread, and watermelon, to kill us in the wilderness. Except you have made yourself a prince over us. Do you hear this accusation? They have a question mark here. But this is an accusation. 14. Moreover, you have brought us not into a land that flows with milk and honey, like you told us, or given us an inheritance of fields and vineyards. Did they forget? Did they descend at the mount? The ground opened and swallowed them up. Then they were sentenced to wander 40 years in the wilderness. Now, will you put out the eyes of these men who do not agree with you? No, we will not come up. This is called rebellion against the leadership. 15. And Masha was very angry. Should he be? Is he human? Yes, he is. And he said unto YAHUAH, "Do not respect their offering. I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them." 16. And Masha said unto Korah, "Be you and all your company, everyone who is with you, before YAHUAH, you and they, and Aharon, tomorrow." 17. Take every man his censer, remember they're Levites, and put incense in them, and bring you before YAHUAH every man his censer, 250 censers, you also, and Aharon, each of you his censer. 18. And they took every man his censer, and put fire in them, and laid incense thereon, and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Masha and Aharon. 19. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the glory of YAHUAH appeared unto all the congregation. Everyone saw something in the clouds. 20. And YAHUAH spake unto Masha and unto Aharon. Note, Did he speak to Korah? Abiram? Did he speak to the Levites with the censers? No. Who did he speak to? The ones whom he chose for the task, saying, 21, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. 22, and they fell upon their faces. Who fell upon their faces? Masha and Aharun. They were the only ones he spoke to. They were the only ones who heard it. And said, oh, powerful shepherd, the powerful shepherd of men, who stretched forth his arm, whose name is Yah, of the spirits of all flesh. They're interceding on the people's behalf. Shall one man sin? And will you be angry with all the congregation? 23. And YAHUAH spake unto Masha, saying, 24. Speak unto the congregation, and say unto them, get away from the tabernacles, the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Get away from these rebels. 25. And Masha rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram. Remember, they were summoned before. They said, we will not come. You are not our leader. You're the one who usurped authority over us. YAHUAH is with us also. We don't have to follow you. And the elders of Yasharal followed Masha. 26. And he spake unto the congregation. He said to them, get away from these people. I'm telling you now. Get away from the tents of these wicked men. What made them wicked? Rebellion. They thought they were rebelling against Masha and Aharun, but they were rebelling against Yah. And touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all of their transgressions. 27. So they got up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram on every side. Everyone moved their tents and their stuff. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents. They looked around, they said, where's everybody? Why are all the tents so far away? Why are we just here alone? Then their wives came out, their sons, and their little children. 28. And Masha said unto Korah of YAHUAH, Dathan, and Abiram of the congregation, hereby you shall know that YAHUAH have sent me to do all these works. Can we stop for a second? Why didn't they notice before? They were in Egypt. They were under hard bondage. Masha came and ushered them out of the land of Egypt, under the mandate of he who is seated upon the throne. They saw great miracles. Masha taught them things that they have never heard before. Masha presented the law to them, and he taught them. Why did they not think that he was the one sent by YAHUAH? It's the pride of men that leads to destruction. Let's continue. Listen to what Masha said. I have not done them of mine own mind. 29. If these men die the common death of all men, of old age, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men with some sickness, then YAHUAH did not send me. 30. But if YAHUAH make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth and swallow them up with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then you shall understand that these men have provoked YAHUAH. Make sure that you do not provoke YAHUAH by speaking against the one whom he has sent. 31. And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, the ground opened up that was under them. 32. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, their tents, and all the men that appertained unto Korah, and all their goods. Now you see how to identify a man that says that he fears YAHUAH. He will also fear those who are over him. The Father does not deal with rebellion. He chooses a leader, he puts them over the people, then he draws the people to them, and now they are required to teach them, to train them, to raise them up. This is not an easy task. Dealing with stiff-necked, unmovable people. 33. They and all that pertain to them went down alive into the pit. Their wives, their children, even the babies, their slaves, their cattle, their asses, their goats, and the earth closed upon them, like the sinkhole that I showed you in the intro, and they perished from among the congregation. Coming soon in the theater near you. When we get into the wilderness, Yahushua is going to separate the rebels from the righteous. What does a rebel look like? He doesn't follow any leadership. He's a lone ranger. He's always speaking against those who were chosen. He thinks in his mind that he can do it better than they. Pride wells up in him. What happens next? The earth will open up and swallow him. And wives, do not entertain that type of speech. In this situation, it's time for you to speak up and let him know you're going to cause all of us to perish because of your rebellion. 34. And all Yasharal that were round about them fled, ran, and cried. For they said, lest the earth swallow us up also. And rightly so. They also murmured against the leadership. The only reason that they were spared is because Moshe and Aharon interceded on their behalf. Find the right leader. 35. And there came out a fire from YAHUAH and consumed the 250 men that offered incense. The Levites. YAHUAH. They were chosen for the task. In the tabernacle, in the temple, on earth, the one that's made with hands. They decided, because they were set apart also, that they wanted to be the priest. After YAHUAH had already said, you have to be born from the lineage of Aharon. What is wrong with our people? Why is it that no one listens to what Yah says? No one follows chain of command. Everyone thinks that they're lone rangers. There's so many chiefs, but there's no Indians? Well, this is what happens when your head gets so big that you decide that you're going to be the chief. Yet, he who is seated upon the throne, he didn't choose you. You're not the one. He chooses whom he will and places them in the positions of leadership. And if you don't think that that person has been placed in the position of leadership by he who is seated upon the throne, not by himself, if you don't think that he's been placed in that position by YAHUAH himself, then leave. It's better to leave than to go down alive into the pit. 36. And YAHUAH spake unto Moshe, saying, 37. Speak unto Eleazar the son of Aharon the priest, that he and nobody else take up the censers out of the burning and scatter the fire over yonder, for they are hallowed. The censers were set apart. Only Eleazar, the son of Aharon, from the priestly line, could gather them. How is it that you're going to think you can lead the people and be a priest and you don't know all of these things? 38. The censers of these sinners, of these transgressors of the law? The law is right there in the book. They didn't read it? Against their own souls. They sinned against themselves. Their heads got too big. They wanted to take on a position that was not for them. Do you remember the brothers in IUIC? I made a video about it. They said that they are the priest of YAHUAH. Can they trace their lineage back to a Harun? Be careful, brothers and sisters. Let's continue. Let them make broad plates for a covering of the altar. For they, the censers, the bowls, were offered before YAHUAH, so they were set apart. And they shall be a sign unto the children of Yasharal. A sign of what? Do not rebel against the leadership. Do you understand? It is dangerous. 39. And Eleazar the priest took the brazen censers. Look, everyone here follows commands. Wherewith they that were burnt, crispy fried, had offered. And they made broad plates for a covering of the altar. 40. To be a memorial unto the children of Yasharal, that no stranger which is not of the seed of a Harun come near to offer incense before YAHUAH. Brothers, do not make this claim. Yahusha will tell us who the high priest that will be in the tabernacle that is made with hands, who they shall be, that you be not as Korah, swallowed up, and all his company, even the little ones, as YAHUAH said to him by the hand of Moshe. He does not stand for rebellion. You and everything belonging to you will go down into the pit for speaking against the leadership. A little leaven leavens the whole lump. The leaven has to be destroyed. 41. But the next day, all the congregation of the children of Yasharal murmured again against Moshe and against the Harun after everything that they just saw, saying, "You have killed the people of YAHUAH." They accused Moshe and Harun of committing murder, transgressing the law. You want to be in ministry? You want to teach the people. Do you want to be a Moray? This is what you'll be confronted with every single day. Nothing but rebellion. 42. And it came to pass, when the congregation was gathered against Masha and against Harun, they looked towards the tabernacle of the congregation. And behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of YAHUAH appeared out of the cloud. He overheard them. May I ask you a question? What makes you think that he does not overhear you? 43. And Masha and Harun came before the tabernacle of the congregation. 44. And YAHUAH spake unto Masha, and said this. 45. Get away from these stiff-necked people, that I may consume them as in a moment. Look what Masha and Harun did. They fell on their faces again. 46. And Masha said unto Harun, the judgment is out. Take a censer. Put fire thereon from off the altar. See the process? The fire must come from off the altar. No strange fire. Then put the incense on top of the fire. Then go quickly unto the congregation. Make an atonement for them. For the wrath is gone out from YAHUAH. The plague has begun. Hold it. Is there something wrong with Masha and Harun? These people just came and accused them of murder. And instead of them saying, kill them all, big and small, Masha and Harun went quickly to make an atonement for the people, to spare them. 47. And Harun took as Masha commanded. He followed instructions and ran into the midst of the congregation. Did not Yah tell you guys to get away from these stiff-necked people so he can consume them? And behold, the plague was begun among the people. And he put on incense and made an atonement for the people. 48. And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed. He stood in the gap for the people. Isn't this the same guy that they were murmuring against? 49. Now they that died in the plague were 14,700. Besides them that died about the matter of Korah, Datan, Abiram, YAHUAH, the Levites, with the censers. 50. And Harun returned unto Masha unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with a sigh of relief. And the plague was stopped. Suppose Masha and Harun did nothing. Suppose the people had no one to stand in the gap on their behalf. What would have happened? They all would have been consumed. Let me speak to the ladies. We know how to identify whether you, wife, are a hypocrite or not by the way that you relate, speak, and respect your husband. Now you know whether your husband is a hypocrite or not by the way he speaks to, relates, and reverences his leaders. The same way that he would respect YAHUAH is the same way that he would respect his leaders. Who chose the leader? YAHUAH. Here's something else. We've learned a lot from this. You belong to your husband. He is your Savior. Or he is the one who can bring down condemnation upon you. Dathan, Abiram, their wives, their children, their little ones, their goats, their asses, their slaves, everything that appertained to them went down in the pit because of the rebellion of the leader of the household against the leadership. When they were rebelling against the leadership, they were rebelling against Yah. When you rebel against your husband, you are rebelling against Yah. Do you see how this thing works? Brother Dawood, how do we know if a leader has been chosen by Yah? Well, his works will precede him. His works will speak on his behalf. Let me give you my resume. I don't think I've told any one of these things, but now is the time. Maybe it'll help some of you. You cannot be a leader unless you first learn to follow, learn to serve, been a servant. If you haven't been a servant, you do not qualify for leadership at all. When the Aliyam chose me and they spoke to me the first time, I was in the streets. I was bawling. It was in the 80s. I was a prince of New York. Businesses, clubs, very wealthy. They told me to give up everything that I was doing and come and follow the Most High. I thought I was going crazy. But the effectual call was so clear and so pronounced that I did it. Everyone said that I was going crazy. I started giving the money away and the things away. The Aliyam, the angels, the watchers, the messengers, they led me to a man. One of the greatest teachers that ever existed. He took me under his wing. He taught me personally. I served him for 10 years. I was his body servant. Dressed him, made sure his food was ready, went back and forth to the airport to shuttle all of the dignitaries, took them to the mansion, showed them their rooms. I mean, my job description was heavy. 10 years. Never received a dime for my service. He died. And I found myself down here in Florida thinking that I was going to open a business and I was building homes. And it was 2008. The market crashed. I was losing everything. I said I'm going to go back to New York and rescue all of my businesses. I'm 195. The music stopped in the car. And Aliyam spoke to me again and said, "Go back to where we brought you. We are not finished with you yet." I almost crashed. It was so pronounced. It was like someone was in the car with me, but I could not see them. I pulled over to the side. I called my mother. I says, "Mom, the angels spoke to me again. They told me to go back to where they brought me, that I can't go back to New York." She came with great wisdom. She said, "Boy, you better go back to where they sent you. Be obedient." I went back reluctantly, lost all of the rest of my holdings in New York in 2008. And from there, Murray of Yasharal Ministries was birthed. In 2017, they spoke to me again. They said the Shabbats and the feast days are all wrong. And I said, if the Shabbats and the feast days are wrong, then we haven't returned back to He who is seated upon the throne. They began training me. They told me what to do. Take the book of Hanuk, go out every single day, look up, learn how these luminaries work. And I did. And I began to teach the path of years and this divine commission because we saw it in 2019. Perfect alignment, 10 days from the equinox. And we started to teach our brothers and sisters. They all attacked me. They said I was crazy. They said the Shabbat is only on Pope Gregory's calendar. They said that you have to make an adjustment to the calendar. If you don't make that adjustment, you're going to be all the way back in the winter. You're stupid. You're crazy. You're ignorant. You're out of your mind. But now everyone is starting to come to their senses. They're finding out that they were out of their minds. It's impossible for a Shabbat to be on Pope Gregory's calendar because the new moon is missing. It's impossible for you to make an adjustment to the calendar because there's no statute to tell you to do so. And if you do so, you're transgressing the law. You cannot add to or take away from this book of the law. If he says the first month and you make an adjustment, you're not going to be in the first month, you'll be in the second month. You transgressed the law and you led everyone who was following you to the pit. Now, after hearing what I just told you, you should know that he who is seated upon the throne chose me for the things that I brought out about the Shabbats and the feast days and everything that the Gentiles have been doing to you for all of these years, making total idiots out of us. The enemy got so angry at me, he attacked me from every direction, and it came down to my health. In 2022, he spoke to me again. They told me to make the 7th month feast and Day of Atonement in advance. I don't know why at the time, but I made them in advance. I had them ready. All I had to do was upload them. Then I started having all these strokes. My wife says, "Come, we have to hurry up and get to the hospital. I'm going to drive you there." And I told her, "No, I cannot leave until I've uploaded these videos." She said, "You're going to die. Stop acting crazy." I says, "No, you help me. The quicker I finish this, the quicker you can take me to the hospital." I couldn't see. I had went blind already. My organs were shutting down. The only thing I was concerned about was making sure that our people had the time and date for the Day of Atonement. And once we got them uploaded and she got me to the hospital, it was just in time. Or else I wouldn't be here today. Behind the scenes, brothers and sisters, I am interceding on your behalf, whether you know it or not. I don't have to tell you. This is my daily job. This is what Masha and Harun was doing. Why? They had a divine commission from YAHUAH. They heard from the Alayam, just like I have. The rest of them, can other people say this? And even if they say it, that they heard from the Alayam, do they have evidence to back it up, like I do? The path of years. Brothers and sisters, learn how to follow instructions. Stop murmuring against your leaders. Stop thinking you can do it better. He didn't choose you, did he? Did he speak to you? If he did, and you're sitting back doing nothing, that's worse than if he didn't speak to you, isn't it? Because he told you and gave you a task and you're doing nothing but sitting back complaining about what someone else is doing. We are about to go into the promised land. There's going to be structure. It's not going to be a whole bunch of chiefs running around with no Indians. There's going to be a chain of command. The chain of command is going to be chosen by what you do here, what you do now, whether you can follow instructions here, whether you can rally behind a leader and support him here. Did you think it was easy for Masha and Harun? Everyone thought that, oh man, they just rolled around and did all of these miracles. No, they had to deal with all of these different spirits day in and day out. A man who is into ministry, serving Yah, is worthy of double honor. Let me tell you what you will get when you come around the children of Yasharal. You will get no honor. Now, this is a part of the Saviors of Yasharal series. I put this one on YouTube, but to see the other parts, you have to come to the website, YAHUAH-ALUAH.com. Shalom.